Zelensky has sacked his commander-in-chief. General Syrsky, the butcher, is out. Ukraine has a new wartime commander after days of protests, pressure, and political turmoil. Major General Drapatyi, 43 years old, a decade of fighting Russia, and a reputation for embracing the kind of warfare Syrsky resisted. It is the biggest military shakeup since Russia's full-scale invasion, and a high-stakes gamble at a critical moment in the war. Ukraine's wartime leadership has entered a new chapter. After days of political turmoil, public protests, and intense speculation, President Volodymyr Zelensky has made the biggest military shakeup since Russia's full-scale invasion. General Oleksandr Syrskyi is out as commander-in-chief, and in his place comes Major General Mykhailo Drapatyi, a younger battlefield commander seen by many as the face of a new generation of Ukrainian military leadership. The move is being viewed as an attempt to restore confidence at a critical stage of the war. On July 21st, Zelensky announced that Major General Mykhailo Drapatyi will become the new commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine.
I determined that the new commander-in-chief of the armed forces of Ukraine will be Mykhailo Drapatyi. Together with Mykhailo, Yevgeny Kmara, acting defense minister, Pavlo Palisa, Zelensky office deputy head. We determined how the configuration of the general staff of the armed forces of Ukraine should be updated.
While announcing the change, Zelensky praised Syrsky for his service, crediting him with leading several of Ukraine's most significant military achievements since the war began.
I am grateful to outgoing military chief Oleksandr Syrskyi and every one of our soldiers for Ukraine's strong frontline positions. I am grateful to Mykhailo Drapatyi for having precisely the same view. Today, with Oleksandr Syrskyi and Andriy Hanatov, Chief of General Staff, we talked about further service formats and the correct transfer of affairs.
Zelensky also said that he had offered former Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov a decent post.
I had a meeting with former Defense Minister Mikhailo Fedorov today. I offered Mikhailo a worthy position in the government, which would allow unity of the technological component of our state to ensure its development.
Separately, Zelensky confirmed that he met with outgoing Commander-in-Chief General Oleksandr Syrskyi and Chief of the General Staff Andriy Hanatov to discuss the transfer of responsibilities and their future roles within Ukraine's defense structure. Notably, Syrskyi's tenure had increasingly come under pressure. Although respected for his battlefield experience, he faced persistent criticism over what some soldiers described as a rigid command style that resulted in unnecessarily high casualties. Those concerns erupted into public view following last week's government reshuffle, triggering days of demonstrations that exposed deep divisions within Ukraine's military and political leadership. The appointment of 43-year-old Drapaty is widely seen as a response to those concerns. A veteran of more than a decade of fighting against Russian forces, Drapaty previously commanded Ukraine's land forces between 2024 and 2025 and is regarded as a military leader who embraces modern technology and innovation on the battlefield. His appointment has also received support from former Defense Minister Mykhailo Fedorov, who described the reshuffle as a breath of fresh air and new hope for Ukraine's armed forces.
Congratulations to Major General Mykhailo Drapatyi on his appointment as Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of Ukraine. This is a breath of fresh air and a new source of hope in the fight of free people for freedom and justice. It is the voice of change that could no longer be ignored.
As Ukraine continues fighting Russia, the change in military leadership represents far more than a routine appointment. It signals a new direction for the country's armed forces, as Kyiv seeks to combine battlefield experience with fresh thinking at one of the most decisive moments of the war. Ukraine's top general has done something almost unheard of during wartime: Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrskyi has publicly apologized to the country's former defense minister, urging Ukrainians to stop turning the war into a personal feud. But even as he called for unity, fresh reports suggest President Volodymyr Zelensky may already be preparing to replace him. With protests growing, political tensions rising, and the future of Ukraine's military leadership hanging in the balance, the battle inside Kyiv is becoming almost as intense as the one on the front line. In a personal column, Syrsky said he was surprised to learn that their relationship had been portrayed as a conflict, insisting he had viewed it as a professional working relationship where disagreements were natural during a major war.
If I offended someone with something, Mykhailo Albertovich, I'm sorry, I can be tough. But I ask you, and everyone following this story with such enthusiasm, to focus not on the personal, but on the global one, on victory.
Reducing the war to rivalry between two individuals plays directly into Russia's hands, Syrsky said.
Ukraine is bigger than Fedorov, Syrsky, or any of us, and that the country holds together precisely because of its army, institutions, and millions of other people doing their jobs. Not because any of them is irreplaceable. This war will be won by real work, not by the public drama around it.
He cautioned against society dividing into rival camps supporting either himself or Fedorov, stressing that Ukraine's strength came from its army, institutions, and millions of citizens rather than any single individual. However, Syrsky's appeal for unity came as reports emerged that his own position may be under threat. According to Bloomberg, President Volodymyr Zelensky is considering replacing Syrsky with Joint Forces Commander Mykhailo Drapatyi. The report, citing unnamed sources, said the commander-in-chief could be dismissed within days, although no final decision has been made. One source claimed Zelensky is reviewing a list of 11 potential candidates, with Drapaty viewed as the leading contender. Meanwhile, in a post on X, Zelensky said,
I will continue determining what adjustments should be made to Ukraine's defense strategy and which production and military supply priorities must be implemented as quickly as possible. There were also many issues related to air defense and, accordingly, tasks for Ukraine's Ministry of Foreign Affairs and our diplomacy as a whole.
The reports follow days of protests across Ukraine after former Defense Minister Mykhailo Fedorov was dismissed during a cabinet reshuffle. Demonstrators, including serving soldiers and military veterans, have demanded Fedorov's return and called for Syrsky to be removed instead. Despite the speculation, Ukraine's general staff has officially denied reports that Syrsky has been dismissed. Responding to criticism that he opposes drone warfare, Syrsky strongly rejected the accusation, pointing out that he personally created the Unmanned Systems Forces as a separate military branch and recommended its current commander to President Zelensky.
I was the one who created the Unmanned Systems Forces as a separate branch of the military. I personally recommended Magyar to the president to lead the USF. It was an unpopular decision, and I took full responsibility for it.
He further argued that while drones now account for a significant share of Russian losses, modern warfare cannot rely on drones alone.
Drones account for a large share of enemy losses today. That is a fact. But to prepare the battlefield for drones to operate effectively, you need artillery, mortars, engineering equipment, air defense, electronic warfare, and dozens of other capabilities.
As Ukraine continues its fight against Russia, uncertainty over its military leadership continues to grow. Whether Syrsky remains in command or a new commander is appointed, the decisions made in Kyiv over the coming days could shape both the country's battlefield strategy and confidence in its wartime leadership.